Hi, good morning, Otay Elementary. It is Chef Carole, and I'm super excited to do some cooking with you today. We are going to make one of my favorite munchy foods. It's a super healthy snack to eat, super fun to make, and super easy, and they'll be ready by the end of the day. We're going to make dill pickles. So these are some of my favorite pickles. These ones are not dill, these are called bread and butter pickles, but they're super low in calorie. They've got no fat. They do have a bit of sodium, which is salt, but they're really, really yummy. And the dill pickles we're going to make are going to be really healthy for you. Sorry. So it's a beautiful morning on our boat today, and we're going to have so much fun. So first thing you're going to need is a jar. Now, this is a canning jar. It has a top that seals, but to be honest with you, you can put this recipe in any kind of jar that has a top that seals. It can be glass or it can be plastic. I just happen to have these jars because being a chef, I like to make all kinds of things that are pickled and like to make jams too. So, as you can see, I have something called my mise en place. I have all of my ingredients out. Everything that I'm going to need is already ready to get started. That's super important. So the main character in our recipe are these little cucumbers. Aren't they cute? They're called Persian cucumbers. And it's a different variety of a seed. We'll have to look and see if we can actually plant these at the Otay garden. But the really cool thing about a Persian cucumber is that they have almost no seeds inside. And I'm going to show you that exactly right now. So if you take a look, ooh, look at the seeds. So I guess they do have a few seeds, but maybe not as many as an English cucumber. But the other cool thing about a Persian cucumber is for some reason they're really good for your tummy. They actually, if you have a bit of an upset tummy, a Persian cucumber actually calms your stomach. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice my cucumbers. So I'm going to go ahead and make that claw, grip onto my cucumber. Oh, I forgot to say it. Arr! I'm going to make my claw, and this is about the size of the pieces you want to make. Now, you don't want them too thin because what will happen is they'll get a little bit soggy. And I'll explain that later because we are going to put them into a solution, which is a mixture of water. I'm even going to use the ends. These are all cleaned and there's nothing wrong with them at all. So I'm going to take my Persian cucumbers. I'm going to put them inside my clean container. And I think I have enough room to maybe put a few more. There's my claw, dripping down. And I would say that is about enough. And of course, I'm not going to throw that away because I can either make more or that would be super, super delicious just to munch on. There we go. I'm going to kind of push them down and pack them in. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to add my spice. I'm going to make something called a brine. So a brine is just a salty mixture that the cucumber is going to absorb. And all that flavor that we put inside the brine is going to come out, is going to infuse into the cucumber. So I'm going to actually give everybody a recipe. It's going to be online on your account, and it will say Carole's Quick Dill Pickles. So don't worry about writing anything down. I'm going to give you guys the recipe. And before I go further, I'm also going to give you something super fun to do. So you might want to, after you eat your pickle, you might want to try to describe it in terms of your senses and write down some adjectives or words to describe the smell, the taste, the feel, the sounds, and the looks. And you can hold on to those or you can try to send them to me. It's not homework though, it's just something fun to do. So, our recipe. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to add the sugar and the salt. So, of course, my mise en place is ready. The small one is the teaspoon and the bigger one is the tablespoon. So, I don't want to get these mixed up. I don't want as much sugar. And you know, the sugar is optional. You do not need to add sugar. But I kind of like my pickles a little bit sweet, a little bit salt, and even a little bit spicy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. I don't have to stir it up yet. I'm now going to add a whole tablespoon of salt. Now you can also buy something in the store that's actually called pickling salt, but we can just use ordinary salt. And I'm going to add a whole tablespoon. That seems like a lot, doesn't it? There we go. I'm not going to get every last drop out because I like them a little bit spicy, this is not in your recipe, but I'm going to add a few whole peppercorns. I could even add some chili flakes if I wanted to. I could even add a little jalapeno pepper in there if I wanted to. Any way you want to get a little bit of heat or spice. The next thing I'm going to do is, I could even add some garlic. Sorry, that just popped in my brain. We can even add some garlic to them. The next thing I'm going to do is we need to add the dill, which is why they're called dill pickles. So you could buy some dried dill. It looks kind of like this. I'll shake a little bit in just so you can see it. But no use using dried when you can get fresh dill right now. And this is what the fresh dill looks like. That smells so delicious. So we're going to take a few sprigs. We don't need a whole lot. I'm just going to use my fingers. And I'm actually just going to kind of push that whole piece of dill right down in there. In fact, I think I'll use 2 pieces. I'm just going to push it in. The more dill, the more flavor you'll have. And the really cool thing about making a recipe like this is it's kind of like an experiment, because we're never really sure what it's going to taste like at the end. And you can make 1 jar, experiment, and then before you make your second jar, you can say, maybe I want more dill. Maybe I want less salt. Maybe I don't want any sugar at all. Maybe I'll try adding some garlic. So it's a great recipe to be super creative with. And you know what? Because I like mine to taste really dilly, I'm actually going to add even more dill to that. And the final ingredient is just vinegar. So I think the recipe calls for about 1/2 cup. Oopsies. So I'm going to measure carefully about 1/2 cup, but truthfully, I'm kind of just going to cover the dills. I'm not really that concerned about how much is actually in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pour. And I'm just going to pour enough until it reaches the top of the dill. I'm not going to fill it up all the way. Even though the recipe called for 1/2 cup, I don't need to use it all. The next thing I'm going to do, I love these little containers. They're so cool. Oops, I've got a different top I was going to use. But where did Chef Carole put it? Oh well. What I had done, as I'm going to show you, is that on the jar you can put the date. So it's a really good idea to put the date. You might want to write the name, whose pickles they are, and then I would put the month, the day, and the year, just so that you know. These will last about 2 weeks in your fridge. So again, they'll be ready at the end of the day today, and they'll last about 2 weeks, but you must keep them in your fridge. So now the fun part. Make sure the top is put on nice and tight. And now we're just going to shake like this. And you can kind of see up close that the salt and the sugar are starting to dissolve, and that's exactly what we want. But the really cool thing is that even though the vinegar is only coming up to here, the Persian cucumber slices are going to absorb. That salt is going to release all the liquid from the pickle, and it's going to actually fill up the jar to the top with more liquid that came out of the pickle. So they're going to be full to the top. And that is how you make dill pickles. Isn't that cool? I'm going to put this jar right in my fridge right away. And by the end of the day today, I'll be able to eat it. I wanted to show you one more thing. Next week, we're going to use a really crazy looking vegetable, and it is called fennel. And I love it so much just because, isn't that not crazy looking? It actually looks like we should make a face on that fennel, but it smells like licorice. So until next week, and I miss everybody. I hope everybody's doing super well and staying super healthy. And I cannot wait for the school year to start again next year so I can be back in the nutrition lab and blowing everybody a social distance kiss. And take care. Bye.